I love to check out other financial channels. These are some of the ones I like to check on, not in any specific order, but I often get ideas so I can run the numbers that I see here on my channel, Million Dollars Made Easy. So here was a recent question that I saw. How much do you need saved to retire with $45,000 a year? How would you go about finding an answer to that question? Let's show you one of the spreadsheets that we use that can help us get an answer to that question. So right here we got somebody that has, let's say they have 600,000. We're going to just see how these numbers work out. I'm going to do 37.50 a month, which is $45,000 a year. We're going to do an asset allocation of 70-30, 70% staying in the S&P 500, which is what we use on this channel. We use the S&P 500, the returns for the last 100 years. Our reasoning is it's probably not going to be any worse or any better than what's happened over the last 100 years. And we project ahead what similar returns might do for you in the future. So let's go ahead and look at these numbers in a little bit more detail here. Got 37.50. We got a 70-30 asset allocation, 30% going into some cash reserve account. So when the market's going down, you're taking it out of that. By the way, it shouldn't be 60,000. It should be 600,000. That's a 7.5% withdrawal rate, quite a bit above the 3% rule. But let's run the numbers just to see how it would work out if we did that. Is $600,000 going to kick off $45,000 long enough for your money to last, or is it going to run out? And this is what our spreadsheet is going to show us, how much money I left after 10 years, 20 years, and 30 years. And right here, we start with 1925 returns right going down through there. And you can see you're running out of money in less than 20 years, which is what these reds are showing us. You're out of money after 20 and 30 years if it's red here. And even a few times if you use 1929 numbers. For example, right here, 1929, you're running out of money in less than 10 years. But if you just go a couple years later, you're not running out of money at all. This is a summary box, by the way. Now, that's withdrawal rate was 7.5%. But what have we not taken into account here? Is this 600,000 enough? It doesn't look like it is, because 38% of the time you'd be running out of money after 20 years. These are the years, if we had returns like those years, that you'd be running out of money. You'd be running out of money 38% of the time after 20 years and 46% of the time after 30 years. Those are the actual numbers. But is this enough? It is if we start taking into account Social Security. And what I want to do is show you a website that you can go to. You can go to Social Security Quick Calculator, type in your date of birth, how much you're currently making. It's going to kick out what your estimate of what you're going to get at age 67. So we're just going to use this number just for simplicity's sake. We're going to use this 2467, which is in today's dollars. So that's what I've done here, 2467. Say you're 62 years old and you're starting to take that right off the bat at age 60, which is right here. You're getting 2467 at age 67, but if you take it at age 62, you're getting 70% of that. That's how I came up with the 1727. So let's say this is your situation at age 62. You're starting to take Social Security. You no longer need the 3750, all of it coming from your nest egg, because you're getting Social Security of 1727. So you're needing this kind of money from your nest egg. So let's go ahead and update this and see how the money might last. Now we're down to a 4.5% withdrawal rate. Remember what it was before? Just for memory's sake, it was 7.5%. But as soon as we click in Social Security, taking that very first year of this amount, let's see how the numbers might work out now. Interesting what the difference that Social Security made. Now, 0% of the time do you run out of money in 20 years. In fact, if you go down through this column, you're not going to see any reds. In fact, you're going to see millions of dollars worth. The only time you have an issue was 1929 and 1930, and I think probably around the year, well, we haven't had 30 years since the year 2000. Anyway, this shows you that that 4% rule is so crucial. So it looks like $600,000 would meet the criteria. How much do you need saved to retire with $45,000 a year? If you take into account Social Security, and if you're getting that amount from Social Security, again, what number did we use? 2467 at age 70, which would be 1727 at age 62, then you would be okay. Let's go down to 500,000 and see how those numbers might work out. 500,000. Now we're and not 5 million. I'm sure people would like to have that. 500,000 would be a 4.86% withdrawal rule. Let's go ahead and update that and see if this 0% goes up much or changes. Looks like you just have a 4% failure rate, which means 96% of the time, using the numbers for the last 100 years, you would be successful with $500,000 if you got $37.50 a month that you needed and you got $17.27 coming from Social Security. Your money would last 96% of the time. Here's the actual graph, just along the years 1929, 1930, and it looks like the year 2000 is getting kind of iffy. Again, that was another decade. It was kind of problematic because you had these 3 down years and then down 37. But it looks like this $500,000 would work out really well if you needed $45,000 a year to begin with, and you got this kind of money right off the bat. But that's what we do in this channel. We run all kinds of different numbers. As you can see, we'd have to keep guessing what you're getting from Social Security. It depends on what you're getting there. If you only got $1,500 from Social Security at age 62, then let's go ahead and update that and see how that might change this 4%. Again, that's looking at it after 20 years. How much would you have? It's recalculating for all these different years. It takes just a moment to do that. And if we went down to $1,500 from Social Security, now you got a 7% failure rate. So see how key that Social Security is? If you don't have Social Security in it, then remember we had a 38% failure rate. But you need to take into account Social Security, and this is assuming that you're taking it from the very first year. We can change all these different variables if you take a different amount in the 5th, 6th, 7th year or something like that. Maybe wait till age 65 or 67. But that just shows you, it kind of gives you a rough idea of what you might need if you needed this $45,000 a year. So again, the question was, how much do you need saved to retire with $45,000 a year? We need to know what you're getting from Social Security, then we can go ahead and run the numbers. As long as it stays close to this 4% rule, 4 or 5%, you're probably going to be in just fine shape, saving with having this kind of amount saved and using Social Security from the very first year. That's what we do in this channel. We love to run numbers for people. If you want me to run your numbers, just put in the comment section. We'll go ahead and run the numbers. Please consider subscribing to this channel. I'd love to get people watching this channel because what we do on this channel is actually run numbers for people. And people say your videos are one of a kind because we actually show you how the numbers come about. And we use actual returns for the last 100 years. You can see them going down through there. And we see the results of what you would have after 10, 20, and 30 years, given these different variables. Please like the video, and thanks so much for watching.